98 Not Out, sponsored by Shepherd Neame, proud supporters of cricket in Essex.
Welcome to 98 Not Out. Mr. JADE DERNBACH. JADE, how are you?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Can you hear us nice and clear?
I can indeed.
Excellent. Now, there's a story behind this song, I'm told.
Yeah, there is. I remember it was a fair few years back now. I was making my T20 debut at the Oval at finals day against Lancashire and found myself down on the boundary, and all of a sudden a section of the crowd broke out into song, and it happened to be Cher. But I Dernbach time as opposed to Turnback time. So
Dernbach time.
From that point, yeah.
A good song. Not a bad song for the crowd for a change.
Yeah, there's certainly been worse things sung at me since. So it started off well.
Probably down at Chelmsford, I would imagine that.
Yeah, one of the great venues. Yeah.
Yeah. A lively Friday night or two.
When we have players on the show, quite a few have made a big point of the atmosphere, shall we say, at Chelmsford on T20 nights.
That's one way of describing it. Yeah.
So, Jay, T20 captain at Surrey. You've had that role for a couple of years now, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. It's been great. I've really enjoyed it. It was definitely a change from obviously the job I do during T20 bowling. At the start and at the end of the game, quite a high pressure situation. So actually making the change to becoming captain was something that took me a little bit of time to kind of get my head around a little bit, to understand of obviously getting everybody else's positions right and sort of thinking about their games, and then as well as trying to then switch back on to do the job that I'm in the side to do. So yeah, it took a bit of time to settle into the role, but have absolutely loved it, and long may it continue. When
did you sort of feel that you'd sort of morphed from kind of like the young kind of strike bowler, with your famous slower ball and the reverse swing that you became well known for, to all of a sudden starting to become this kind of leader and maybe more of a mentor figure in the team? How did that sort of work with you?
I think it just kind of happened organically, really, over time. I found myself when I was all of a sudden a tiny bit older than some of the other guys who were coming to the side, the likes of Tom and Sam Curran. When I had the opportunity then for them to come and ask me advice, it sort of happens naturally in that sense. I've always sort of seen myself as someone who wants to lead from the front and grab the game and make a difference. So I think people kind of gravitate towards that anyway. They want people to lead through performance, and I think I've certainly tried to do that over my career. I haven't always got it right, but that's something I've always tried to do. So I think that kind of role happened just over a period of time and putting in performances and, just being a Surrey boy and guys wanting to learn from that.
Would you have seen yourself as a captain, say, 5-6 years ago, or is it sort of something you thought, that's not going to happen to me?
It's something I always wanted to do. Whether the opportunity was going to come, I didn't know if that would be the case. We've certainly had some wonderful captains over the years, certainly since I've been at Surrey, and been lucky enough to hopefully learn a few things from them. We obviously had Gareth, who did an amazing job sort of taking us in what was a really difficult time when he took over and really, took us to a far better place. And he left the team in a really good place when he handed it over to myself and Rory Burns. So I'll be forever grateful to him for him placing his faith in me to do that job. So the rest is kind of history in that sense. But it's something I always quite fancied having a go at. But whether it's going to be any good was to be seen, really.
This season you've played in front of small crowds, you've had a couple of test events, and you've played in front of no crowds. How difficult and different is it from a normal full house?
It's completely different. It really is. The whole sort of razzmatazz, if you want, around T20 is all based around the crowd, isn't it? And their involvement and, sort of feeling a part of it. And it's quite, a party atmosphere, if you'd have it that way. And this year has been completely different. I think it's benefited some players, but equally had an adverse effect on others. I've unfortunately been injured, so I haven't been able to take part just yet. So I've just been sat watching from the sidelines. But you can certainly tell the guys who thrive off the crowd and the sort of atmosphere of the occasion have probably struggled a little bit, I think, and others who maybe the pressure has been a bit of an issue in the past. This year has created an opportunity for them to learn their game without the pressures of the crowd and the situation.
You mentioned about senior players at Surrey, and just sort of looking back over the last few years, there's been a real nice succession and structure and use of former or experienced players to sort of pave the way for younger guys coming through. So you mentioned like Gareth Batty, who we've had on this show before, but you can take it a step further back with, obviously with Alex Stewart, Kumar Sangakkara, Kevin Peterson, someone called Mark Butcher, who I was told to mention in the legends section. And then you've got, in the current set, like you say, Gareth Batty, Ricky Clark as well, I think you'd look at. So it's quite nice that you've got those kind of people. Then it comes down to sort of people around your level. And then, as you mentioned, the younger guys. And the conveyor belt of real outstanding talent is quite amazing at Surrey these days.
We've certainly been fortunate over the years to be able to have such quality come through, and young kids who are sort of ready to go as they've hit the first team, and hit the ground running. We've certainly seen that with Tom and Sam. We've got another young kid now at the moment, Jamie Smith, who's playing really well. Will Jacks has come through recently. So the conveyor belt seems to keep producing these quite wonderful cricketers, and and it's great to see them go on to higher honours. I think it's important to always have or strike the right balance between kind of the youth and more senior players. These guys need to learn from people and understand how to go about being a professional cricketer, on a day-to-day basis. So you can only learn and understand that if you're seeing those behaviours through guys who've been there and done it. So we're also lucky that our senior players happen to still be very, very fine players. Gaz is still tearing it up in the T20s, obviously now with more of a coaching role at Surrey. And then Ricky Clark obviously seems to go from strength to strength year upon year.
Is it this year his benefit year, or is that next year it's going to be?
Next year, yeah. He's been awarded one for next year, so I'm very pleased for him. He's a Surrey boy through and through. Obviously popped away for a little while and developed himself, but no, he's back.
And you've added to the squad this year, and we've seen Essex's own Reece Topley come in, and then also dragged back from Surrey, the multi-talented, all-round good bloke, house DJ, best at cards, best dressed, best dancing, Laurie Evans. I think I read that right.
Did you get it all in? I think there was a couple you missed off. Yeah, I heard he sent you a text earlier describing me in a nice way, didn't he? Yeah.
He's a top bloke. He was good fun when we had him on.
Yeah, no, Laurie is a great kid, and it goes to show, to be able to have the ability to bring these guys back. Laurie's obviously gone away and worked on the game because he's a fantastic player now. He's probably one of the best white ball players around. Pretty unlucky to have not had his opportunity yet with England, but unfortunately that white ball side is pretty hard to get into. So he's found himself in an unlucky era, probably in that sense. But England's loss is our gain, certainly at Surrey. So I'm very happy to have him back, and he's going to add massive amounts to our late or middle order. With the white ball, and I think he's looking to make another push with the red ball too. So that's going to be a great opportunity for him.
Another name that keeps popping up on when we're doing this sort of run through of who's done what at the weekend or whatever is the young spin bowler Amar Verdi. Mm-hmm. Who seems to be, I don't think, from what we can work out, it doesn't seem to be quite a finished article, but he's definitely an outstanding talent with the ball.
Yeah, he burst on the scene certainly when we had our championship winning year in 2018. He took some very important wickets, some very big wickets, and I think it was kind of eye-catching, and people started talking about him, obviously, as a young spinner. It generally does, because it's quite difficult to produce young spinners, isn't it? Or whether they get the opportunities. But Bird is one of those naturally talented guys who can spin, who really tries to spin the ball. He hasn't started the regular way, I'd say, in terms of starting off with the white ball, where you see a lot of spinners bowling a lot faster and trying to jam the ball in, as opposed to looking to really give the ball a rip. And that's what Birds does, and that's his point of difference. He's certainly got some things to learn, but he's developing year upon year, and he's got obviously a wonderful brain in Gareth Batty to pick out every day and to learn and understand what it's going to take to go to the next level.
The club have been very protective of him for a few years now and helped him develop. And I think that there is definitely a program from what I see and hear that his moment will come, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone who can spin it how he does on some on some pretty fat wickets that we've played on over the last couple of years. He certainly stands head and shoulders above many of the other spinners we've come across. So hopefully his opportunity comes when he's good and ready, and his game is in the right order. You want longevity. Whenever you get the opportunity to play international cricket, you hope that it's going to be for a long time, not just to pop in for a game and then not be ready to take that chance. So for Birds, I think, if that opportunity comes in 18 months' time, I think that 18 months, 2 years, I think that's probably when it'll be about right for him.
A couple of other youngsters I've noticed there, Hashim Amla and Morning Morkel. I think they'll go on to do well.
Yeah, I mean, to have Hash back, we were lucky enough to have him a couple of times over the last few years as an overseas player, and he was brilliant. His wealth of knowledge and just his appetite for runs still at his age is phenomenal. But again, our young batters who get to see a very successful international batter and how he goes about his business on a day-to-day basis, you can do nothing but learn from that. So he's going to certainly add to us. With the boys that have been away with England, Burnsy, Popey, Folkesy, we've missed out on a lot of runs in that middle order. So for Hash to come back to Surrey and to add some strength and depth to us, and it's going to be really important for us moving forward.
We've been sent in a question by one of our listeners, Debbie Knight. You might know Debbie from seeing her in and around grounds, and quite a famous supporter of cricket and rugby.
She's a member of Surrey as well.
Yeah, she asked, how did you get involved in the Peter Ink Not Mink advert?
That was actually, it was offered to me through a lady who I was doing some work with back in the day, and I've always been a massive animal lover. I've always had pets throughout my life, and it was an opportunity to do something that nobody else had really done, or to try and just create some more awareness around animals and the cruelty to animals, and this campaign came up, and obviously me back in that day wasn't shy of getting my shirt off whenever I had the opportunity, so the two kind of married up, and there you go, I found myself topless.
We had Jonathan Trott on last week, and he gave us a really, really good interview. And I asked him a question that I ask a lot of current and former players on the show. So I'm going to ask you. I want to know who is the best player you have played with and your most formidable opponent.
Good question. Best player I've played with. Well, I was thinking about this the other day. Somebody asked me a similar question whereby I had to put down the best 11 I played with, and it was actually quite difficult. It's only then when you sit back and realise how many really unbelievable players I've had the opportunity to be with. Wow. Yeah, it's been crazy. But I think it's a real close one between Kumar and Ricky Ponting. Those two were unbelievable. They were phenomenal. Just like I say, their appetite for runs. Ricky, I was lucky enough to bat with him in his very last innings that he played in first-class cricket. Managed to get a little night out with him at the end. But to just see, that was his last ever innings, and the amount of runs he had scored, but his determination and appetite just to continue to get runs, even up to the very last minute, was something I'd never seen in anybody else before. It was quite awesome just to spend time around somebody who's been that successful in the game, and he was always willing to have a chat and talk through past experiences and plenty of stories and stuff. So Ricky was amazing. Kumar was equally on just another level.
Yeah. With
how kind he was with his time and everything he did for Surrey over those couple of years that he was with us. It was quite phenomenal.
And your opponent?
Opponent. Good question. Probably the one that haunts me. The thing was, it's quite a weird little thing, because I had some success against him, but equally he also tormented me a lot of the time too. And I'd say Dhoni from India. We did quite a few tours over that way, and you still always have to plan and think, where am I going to bowl to him come the end of an innings? And he still does have an amazing ability just to clear the rope with ease.
Yeah.
So anyone who can do that certainly leaves you with some sleepless nights. But I had some really good battles against him, and he certainly came on top more times than I did. But he was certainly someone who I would say is probably my most favorite competitor for sure.
Jade, what's the long-term plan for you? You can still be bowling at 45 like Darren Stevens, or are you looking to go into coaching, or would it be your life away from cricket afterwards?
I'm going to certainly try and drag this out as long as I can. There's far worse ways to earn a living, isn't there, playing cricket?
Yeah.
I certainly, I love Surrey so much and just want to see us continue to be successful. So my aim is to certainly play for at least the next, sort of 3-4 years. That's the initial plan. I've done my coaching qualification, so I've got level 3 coaching done and trying to do some little bits now in and around, obviously not playing, unfortunately, through injury. So, I'm trying to learn from Richard Johnson, our current bowling coach at Surrey, and just understand what that may entail if that's a course I'm looking to move forward with. So at the moment, the options are certainly open, but I think it'd be a shame if I didn't pass on the knowledge I've happened to learn over what has been a long career.
Where did you get your slower balls? Because you came into cricket quite late, didn't you, when you moved to England? Where did you get your sort of quite unorthodox slower balls and reverse swing from?
Yeah, the reverse swing, I think, happened just because I have an action which allows that to happen, or it comes quite naturally to me in terms of having a pretty good wrist and can get slingy towards the end, or, if the ball does start to reverse. I find that not a difficult skill to do as such. So that kind of came naturally. The slower balls, I guess the one I'm obviously most known for is the back of the hand one. And that happened because I was playing club cricket for Guildford, and I was playing second team club cricket for Guildford. There was another guy in my side called Will Saby. And this guy was the same age as me. He used to run up and bowl this back of the hand slow ball, and he used to get 45-year-old men ducking into this ball on a regular on a Saturday, and I'm the other end, running in as fast as I can and not getting anywhere near a wicket, and this kid was just cleaning up. I thought, I've got to get a part of this. I need to learn to bowl this ball. So I went away and just practiced, and it probably took me about 2 or 3 years to get confident enough to bring it into a game. And kind of the rest is history, I guess, in that sense. But it was just through watching, and I still do that now. I watch a load of T20 cricket now and see what other bowlers are doing and other balls that they're developing, and then I'll go away and try them and try and get it to fit with my action. That's the thing you've got to do. A lot of it's trial and error and just finding a way that works for you and adapting whatever it is you've seen and see if you can make it work for yourself.
I seem to remember you were the first one to bring the back of the hand slower ball to the sort of cricket in international cricket. So someone down at Guildford really probably named the ball after him after all that.
Yeah,
you owe him a jug.
I should probably give him a shout. You probably owe him a beer or two, I reckon.
Yeah. But obviously, the two current boys bowl it really well as well. Is it something you've worked a lot on with them?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they came to me picking my brains about it because they obviously saw something that was successful and knew that that's the direction that one-day cricket was certainly going. And you have to, as a fast bowler, you have to have a slower ball and a decent one of that, not just, run your fingers down the side of it and hope something happens type situation. So they were very keen, and their appetite to learn is amazing, and that's obviously why they're so successful now. So yeah, they both came and seeked out advice, and equally trying to find something that fitted with their action. So Tom is lucky enough that he can get his arm in a similar position that I can, so he can bowl it at pretty much exactly the same, probably better than me. And Sam actually just makes a tiny little tweak for his arm a little bit lower for him to be able to do it. So it's just, for them, again, it was just trial and error. They picked it up a whole lot quicker than I did. Goes to show the level of talent we're dealing with. But yeah, it was crazy. I mean, it was a couple of sessions later, and next thing you know, they were taken out into the game, and that's the confidence of the lads to back their own ability to that degree.
I imagine there's a few international batsmen that might hear their ears all break up and think, right, I've got to look for Sam Curran's arm dropping a little bit now.
I've given away straight secret now.
Right, off the field, let's find out a few little things about this Surrey dressing room. First of all, now I saw you on one of your social media posts burying someone for supporting Arsenal. I can't remember who it was. Was it Jason Roy or was it Plunkett?
Well, actually, if you talk about the Jason Roy thing, it's basically because every week he changes which team he supports.
Oh.
I mean, I've taken him along to Arsenal before, and he was an Arsenal supporter. And then the next week I saw him at Chelsea, and he was holding a Chelsea shirt. And then all of a sudden, I think Tottenham were handing away free kits because I couldn't find any more fans. And there he was hitting himself out in Tottenham. So,
talking of which, can you get John Surtees to send us some of those nice Surrey cable knit jumpers? He keeps telling us he'll do it. Next time
I'll get on to him.
Yeah,
I'll let him know.
So, okay, so who? I think Alex Stewart's Chelsea, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think a lot of them there are Chelsea, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a few of them. So the current boys are Chelsea. Then you've got Ricky's a massive Tottenham fan, Ricky Clark.
Yeah.
Brett's a Tottenham fan.
Laurie Arsenal. Who else we got? Yeah, Ryan Patel, Arsenal. There's a couple of Fulham fans.
Keeping it local.
Yeah,
that's
all
right.
of them are fairly local, to be fair.
Palace fans?
It's just
Do we
you,
have
Darren.
yeah, we used to have
Mark
a couple.
Butcher?
Aaron Haranath, Palace fan. Yeah, Mark Butcher, Palace fan.
Yeah.
Steve Hauser, the sort of guy who works in the office. He's a massive Palace fan.
Ebony Rainsford Brent, Liverpool fan.
Interesting.
Yeah, we got that out of her a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Are you all? I see you obviously must get on quite well because we see a lot of great social media videos coming out of the club. Of you guys having a lot of fun. Do you enjoy doing that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's been great. I guess that's where everything's sort of changed now, isn't it? You can sort of reach so many people now and actually show different sides to you as opposed to just people turning up and watching you play cricket. They can actually understand a bit more of the things you enjoy away from cricket and get a better understanding of us. And I think social media does that if used correctly, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to be able to interact with fans and it's immediate, isn't it? So for us to have the chance to show different sides of ourselves, it's great.
So with the season sort of an end is in sight, what are your plans after the domestic season's finished?
Well, I'm actually currently, as we speak, I'm staring at a house full of boxes. We're about to move next week. So we've got a big house move happening. So I think I'll be putting on the overalls and doing a hell of a lot of painting and stripping and sanding. So that's going to be the first part of my winter taken care of. But thereafter, it's just going to be head down and really get the body right and ready to go for next season. I'm really hoping that obviously everything finds a way of getting back to normal. So I might be able to travel after Christmas at some point to go and try and play some cricket somewhere, try and get some overs in, because missed out on a whole lot of overs this year. So the plan will be to get nice, fit and strong before Christmas and then try and get on a plane to sunnier climates.
Before you go, I just want to just mention Surrey as a whole. The setup is so wide-ranging and successful. And I really did want to mention the ladies' cricket there. I mentioned Ebbs a minute ago, but you know, again, you've got some fantastic players there. Hannah Jones, Nat Siva. It's a really successful setup, and it's getting results.
Yeah, but that is a great thing. You know, Surrey's a brand, it's a family, and for us, it's about the whole club being successful. And the way that our ladies section has gone from strength to strength in terms of not just being successful on the pitch, but in terms of how they now are a whole lot more professional. They spend time. You know, it's an actual organisation now, and the opportunities are there, I guess, for girls and ladies to forge a career now in cricket and to be paid pretty well to do it. And that can only be good for the game and for them as well. And to see our girls doing so well is brilliant. Like I say, it's you know, Surrey's one big family, and when one team is successful, everybody's successful, I think.
Well, long may it continue, and I think, you know, as we've talked earlier, the pipeline on the men's side is fantastic. The girls are going from strength to strength, the ladies, etc. We'll save the 100 for another time, but we you know, we're very glad that you came on and joined us this evening. It's been great fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, and you know, we look forward to following you over the winter and then into next year and onwards and upwards. And you know, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
No, brilliant. Thanks for having me on. It'd be great to come back on again and catch up. So thanks a lot, guys.
And yeah, special mention to Laurie Evans as well. He's the best dancer. He's
Just don't let him near, trust me, don't let him near the team radio. We've seen his music choices. You'll just be sitting there shaking your head.
JADE DERNBACH of Surrey and, well, whatever else we'll see over the winter. But we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining us here on 98 Not Out.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Ian.